In this video, I'll be opening up this pack, I will be looking at what foil I got, I'll discuss whether or not I think you should buy this product, and then talk through the cards inside and where you might use them. Yo, 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 it's your boy! It's your boy! I think I almost broke the chair sitting down, actually. It's your boy, Vince, also known as Pleasant Kenobi on the internet. Don't worry, I won't be shouting like Mofo Kenobi today in opening packs like I did in that Pokemon video that no one watched. Today, I'm going to do the first of my, I guess, a new series I'm going to call Diving Deep Into It. We're going to get deep, like real deep as humanly possible. Deeper! Into a certain type of magic product or thing. Today's deep dive is going to be spellbooks. I've got a Jace one, I'm not opening that today, it's still on my shelf from all the sealed stuff that I like to collect, like some sort of crazy Womble. Babe, did Wombles collect stuff? Wombles collected rubbish, apparently. Instead, we're going to be opening the new Gideon spellbook. Now, this is a day or two late. I wanted this a bit earlier, but I kind of forgot it was getting released because I've been really ill after Seattle, so my bad. For those of you that don't know, Signature Spellbooks kind of replaced the From the Vault series. They have a load of cards that are pre-designated that you know you're going to get, plus one mystery card, basically a foil version of one of the other cards in the set. It's not as a premium product as the Vault series was, but it does give Wizards room to reprint cards that need to be reprinted and gives you some sort of special frame or artwork alongside with it. Thus far, the spellbooks have been like Planeswalker themed. We had Jace, which had quite a few good blue spells like Counterspell, Brainstorm, and Blue Elemental Blast. This time around we have Gideon. I guess they're specializing or focusing on Gideon because Gids is dead. Personally, I think there are better White Walkers out there they could have done this with. My preference is going Elspeth, then Ajani, and then Gideon in that order for white lads and lasses that I like to cast. But he dominated the standard with Ally of Zendikar and then got fucking killed. So in some ways, this is like a memorial product to a friend who has gone, but not forgotten. And I think Gideon's proper dead too, not like Elspeth dead, where she's like in the underworld and she's definitely coming back. I think he's dead as the fucking dodo. In today's video, we'll be opening upon Thalia's lovely face because I guess, well, it's a white product with white cards and Thalia's, you know, mother of white decks. So why the fuck not? For some context, Jace's spellbook was very well received. It was price gouged initially because the foil brainstorms and such were kind of sought after by collectors. The frame that was used in the blue version of this, the Jace version of this, was also quite well received. There's also reprints of popular art like the Jace counterspell that we hadn't seen since Jace vs Chandra as well. So this is the Gideon version, as the second ever signature spellbook. I believe we're going to be getting Planeswalker ones because everything that Wizards ever creates is fucking Planeswalker themed. Maybe we'll get a Mythic one at some point where it's all Mythics in there. Because that's the other thing that they fucking love to do. Packs and tournaments and name stuff after Planeswalkers and Mythics. So the box is rather swish considering it's just going to go in the bin. It's got a slide out thing like this and it's actually like connected. You can't slide it out any further. It comes with like a sort of insert there and there's also a booster which is stuck down for some disgusting reason. Something just started to really smell. Is this? Oh my god, it's this. For some reason this box stinks. It smells like gone off flowers. I thought it was this flower pot to my left that I just asked my wife about, but it's not. The box just smells fucking weird. Anyway, some words of wisdom from Gideon here. It says, when the fight seems hopeless, fight harder. Anyway, let's open this Gideon pack. It's got Gideon's silhouette there as well, with Gideon's signature tendrils. I've never really understood what it was. Arm whips? It's kind of like a tentacly version of Wolverine from the X-Men, I guess. That pack opens nice and easily, and it folds out. I think the foil was at the front, if I remember correctly from the last one. It is. Oh, yes. Okay. So what we wanted to get here was the foil path or the foil rip, and I got the foil path. So that's a foil path there. I'm just going to sleeve that bad boy up. That's going on the sideboard of my Legacy deck. I'll come to that more in a moment where these cards will see play and how you should go about using these if you're new to Magic and you've just sort of picked this up. So that's the foil path to exile. Then we've got Black Blade Reforged, Worship, True Conviction, Shield by Faith, Rest in Peace, Path to Exile, Martyr's Bond, and Gideon Jura himself. The real hits here for value are hitting the foil path to exile, with the normal path being somewhere between $8 and $10 already, and this approaching 20, and rest in peace as well, because these are the most playable modern and legacy cards in the entire set. Now, what this set gives you is a selection of Gideon-themed, new boarded versions of cards that are also sort of semi-Gideon themed. They are white spells, or in this case the Black Blade Reforged, which fit with Gideon's story. The Jace's signature spellbook had a lot of cards that are basically spells that Jace would cast, but however they've kind of gone away from that, giving you the one Planeswalker that you had with Jace, which is actually his original iteration, the original Gideon. And then we've got more enchantments than ever here with Worship, Rest in Peace, Shielded by Faith, and True Conviction, and Martyr's Bond. Actually, come to think of it, shit me, I've just realised only one of these is not an enchantment or artifact. Wow. That is interesting. Enchantments traditionally are kind of part of White's colour identity in what they do compared to other colours in Magic. White seems to be one of the two enchanted colours alongside green, so that kind of makes sense. But instead of it being spells that would be in their spellbook per se, they seem to be character moments. What we've got to remember in Magic is that an enchantment is a spell as well. It's something that a Planeswalker would cast that would have some sort of effect based upon the magic they draw out of ley lines, yada yada. Let's talk about original Gids for a moment. For a little while, original Gideon was actually playable in Modern. Some blue-white control decks would run him. He has a -2 to destroy target creature, and his uptake, taking him from 6 to 8 loyalty, allows you to force the opposing creatures to attack him as opposed to your face, essentially. It allows you to pad your life total out, kill some creatures, and eventually also, instead of having some sort of ultimate that wins the game, his ultimate, his 0, turns him into a creature which allows you to then attack and close out the game. So it's both a win condition, a way to buy time, and a way to remove creatures. Gideon has fell by the wayside in more recent times. I mean, if you're going to use a 5-mana Planeswalker in current blue-white control, you just play Big Teferi. So old school Gids has kind of been outclassed. He's also been outclassed by newer versions of Gideon too, mainly Ally of Zendikar. Again, if you're going to play blue-white control in Modern and you're looking to have some sort of Planeswalker package, why not play the creature that makes multiple creatures and then also turns itself into a body that they can attack and win the game as well. However, old school Gids is still pretty cool. He's still pretty fun to play with. If you're on a budget and you're trying to build a blue-white control in Modern, you can do a lot worse than playing old school big Gideon Jura. He's also just okay for Commander as well. He allows you to force an opponent to tap out, attack their utility dudes, things like Oracle of Moldias and Courser of Kruphix and stuff like that. He's not worth a whole amount of money, and it's understandable why, because he's just been outclassed in recent times. But it makes sense to include the original Gideon in the Gideon spellbook, although I would have preferred to see Ally of Zendikar, simply because Ally of Zendikar is far more playable, both in mid-range strategies and Legacy, and the sideboards of things like Death and Taxes, and in the strategies in Modern, whether it be sideboards of mid-range decks or in actual control decks. Then we come to the 4 that open, Path to Exile. Path to Exile is the second best white removal spell ever printed in all of Magic's history. It is not quite Swords to Plowshares, which instead of giving them a land, exiles a creature and allows them to gain life equal to its power, but Path to Exile gives your opponent a land instead. Sometimes that's better, but I'll come to that in a moment. Path to Exile is the premium white removal in Modern, and it sees sideboard play in Legacy in addition to 4 copies of Swords to Plowshares in decks like Death and Taxes, one of my favourite decks. You can combo this in Modern with cards like Leonin Arbiter to stop them from being able to get lands. Sometimes the land they're getting doesn't actually matter because you're removing their creature to then either have huge amounts of card advantage in the blue-white control decks, or you're going to combo kill them in the Vizier combo decks. In Legacy, I often play between 1 and 2 extra copies in my sideboard, and then when I'm playing like Italian foil FNM versions, one of which is going to be replaced with this now as well. The reason you put extras in Legacy is that against creature-based decks like Elves or Delver, having the extra removal spells is very, very important, trying to kill everything on site. Also, giving them a land can sometimes be better than giving them life. For example, if your plan is to stop your opponent making a 20/20 Merit Lage, exiling your Swords to Plowshares and giving them 20 life is one hell of a race changer, whereas pathing them, giving them a land, not giving them 20 life, allows you to actually fucking get somewhere in the game. This is also de facto one of the best removal spells in EDH as well. You're going to play 1 copy of Swords to Plowshares and 1 copy of Path to Exile in your white decks. So this is a great pickup. Next up, the second most playable card in the box is Rest in Peace. Now, the great thing about this Rest in Peace is not Therese Nelson art, because no one likes a fucking turf. But besides that, it's pretty cool they managed to take Rest in Peace and theme it around Gideon. Gideon is now dead, so what we see here is some sort of memorial to Gideon on perhaps the plane of Theros, with the buildings and the plains and the trees in the background suggest. And what we have is a Rest in Peace, a monument to Gideon with a flavor text, I will keep watch, which obviously references the fact that he's part of the Gatewatch up until his death. This is the sort of thing I want to see in these boxes more often. This is the sort of thing I think these could really thrive on. It's having reprints that we need, like Rest in Peace, but having them be themed around the character that's on the box. We had that a little bit with Jace with I think like Threads of Disloyalty, which isn't necessarily known to be a Jace spell, but Threads of Disloyalty hasn't been good in Modern for, I don't know, 2 years, so it kind of came at a weird time to be reprinted. Rest in Peace is easily the best white piece of sideboard hate against graveyard strategies, barring Surgical Extraction, which technically is white as well, because it's all fucking colours. Am I right? That's a Surgical Extraction that showed him getting his skull extracted by Nicol Bolas. Fucking get him. Rest in Peace sees play in both Modern and Legacy sideboards, and in the main board of some decks, like combo decks, like Herald Disobedience, for example. I put this at number 1 in my most hateful cards of all time video that I made a few years ago, because it is so unbelievably hateful on the strategy that it sideboards against. Not only does it exile the graveyard upon ATB, but it exiles everything ongoing as well. For 2 mana, it just sits there and turns off graveyards. This is also a main boardable card in some commander decks. If you're playing green-white Karametra, for example, or the new Bant enchantment commanders from the last commander set as well, or even like a blue-white stacks deck where you're not using the graveyard yourself, so you might as well play one of these things to fuck with opponents. Rest in Peace is absolute gas and is a very good reprint. Then we come to the other cards that are a little less exciting. Worship is the only other card here that sees any sort of modern play. It's pretty good in the sideboards of like heavy creature-based decks. Things like Vizier Combo can play this, Green-White Death and Taxes can play this. There's old archetypes like Troll Worship where you play creatures that are hard to get rid of, like Trolls, for example. Play Worship and your opponent will struggle to kill you. The Worship here shows Gideon worshipping Oketra on the plane of Amonkhet, another important part of his story. It's not super expensive right now, but it's still a cool reprint, it's still flavorful, it's still playable. Then we have Blackblade Reforged, what I think might have seen a very small amount of fringe standard play. This is a card that isn't necessarily anything to do with Gideon's life himself, but he used the blade in the story of Dominaria leading up to the battle with Nicol Bolas and War of the Spark. The original art was done by the same artist here, Richard Kane Ferguson. He did, or should I say, he did the art for Ebon Blackblade, the legendary creature from Legends, and they brought him back to do this one. This border plus this art I think looks fucking awesome. I'm actually most impressed visually with this card out of the whole set, even though it's a card that I will probably never play with. It's not playable in Modern, but it's playable in, I guess, Rafik EDH, because you can get a lot of pump for your buck there and just one-shot people out of nowhere. I have to reiterate how good this fucking border is, and I come to criticize how these cards look in just a moment. Then we've got Martyr's Bond, a card that was only put in Commander 2018, I think it was. It's good in sort of stacks decks or aristocrat decks because it's kind of like the white version of Grave Pact, but for all permanents. However, it doesn't see any play in Modern or Legacy for good reason, so it's kind of a bit of a whiff in terms of what's in this box. True Conviction is a card that is very, very fun to slam down in Enchantress strategies and just turn your creatures into huge threats that have double strike and lifelink. It wins you out of nowhere. I lost against Richard playing this card once or twice in Commander Clash. The card is fun to play with. Again, it sees no competitive play, but it's a perfectly reasonable Commander card. And then we come to a card that I didn't know existed, Shielded by Faith. The reason I didn't know it existed is because it was put in one Commander set before this, and everyone gets rid of it and no one plays with it. If you want to know where to use this card, probably just put it in the bin. It's really dog shit, like literal dog shit. I would go as far as to say that I believe this card kind of wastes a slot in here. This could have been anything. This could have been a God's fucking Willing, for example, showing him being blessed by a Ketra or a Hellion or whatever. And I think that would have been a better card than this shit. I don't know what decks would want to play this because there's so many better cards. I just think it's a real shame that this was used in this box, and this could have been anything. It could have been a boat, for fuck's sake. The biggest omission that I think from this is not necessarily a Gideon card, but a very hallmark white card, as in something like a Wrath of God or a Day of Judgment, or perhaps even one of the ones that leaves one creature around to show how powerful Gideon is. Perhaps the Cataclysm or the fixed Cataclysm, the white one that we saw from Theros, the 5-mana one that the name escaped me right now, and I'll probably add in post. There are so many cards that could have been played to this fucking thing, but instead we got given Shielded by Faith. Thematically, it's kind of on point, but there are other cards again that could have showed this better that aren't complete trash that no one will play anywhere. Ultimately, I think this is a little bit better than the Jace spellbook, simply because you've got like playable Modern and Legacy cards in here. And on the whole, the flavour is pretty on point, especially with each of like the events in his life. I also think at time of printing, these cards are more valuable than anything else that was in that set, apart from perhaps the foil Brainstorm. My biggest criticism, I think, of this set is that I don't really like the border. This is more of a subjective thing though. I don't think they're very pretty. I think the border is kind of too dull and neutral. In some ways, it doesn't even make me think they're white cards. The mana symbols are kind of like translucent, showing like a almost transparent look to them. They almost look like conspiracies or artifacts from other sets, which, I don't know, it kind of irks me, I don't like it. The set symbol itself as well is Gideon's like arm shield on like a sort of square book. It's meant to be like his crest upon a book, I guess. But it looks like a very cookie cutter like image that I don't think really pops on the cards very well either. The foiling on this path is actually nicer than I expected it to be. I'd heard reports that the foiling was quite bad in the last one. And I think in the Prof's review of this box, he also says that the foiling is quite poor on the Rest in Peace. However, I do quite like these lines that are in the text box that might not be showing up on camera there. And the foiling of the flames as he fights whatever this is, some sort of demon. Yeah, it looks like a demon. The foiling on the actual art's quite nice too, so I think this will be quite a nice Path to Exile to play with. I might be picking up a few more of these so I've got the full set. So let me know what you think as well. What do you think should replace this fucking piece of garbage that is Shielded by Faith? And do you think True Conviction and Martyr's Bond really deserved a spot when they could have been other cards? If you enjoyed this first foray into Vince's deep dives, then please drop a like in the like button down below. Wankers. If you enjoyed this first deep dive into Vince's deep diving, then please like the video, the like button down below. Leave a comment telling me what your favourite thing about it was, or whether you disagree with me. Tell me if you think that I'm talking complete shit about this product, or if there's something you think should have been in this product instead of that fucking aura. I've been Vince, also known as Pleasant Kenobi on the internet. I didn't wax my hair for this video. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you all very, very soon. Ta-ta for now.